上京した都会で夢破れ、母の言いつけで生まれ故郷に帰ってきた私。
The Love Life series appears to have no end in sight. Just when you thought this franchise is all about a world without males and idol girls just hanging out, they introduce a fantasy storyline and a spin-off called Yohane the Parhelion, Sunshine and the Mirror. Developer Inti Creates, known for their 2D action series Gunvolt, has found themselves working on a game based on this side adventure and crafted an original narrative titled Yohane the Parhelion Blaze in the Deep Blue. While it accomplishes more than many video game adaptations of animes do, it falls short on delivering the enjoyment factor found in the developer's other titles. Instead, we're left with a somewhat shallow Metroidvania experience featuring some clever systems. The narrative of Yohane the Parhelion Blaze in the Deep Blue revolves around Yohane herself. Alongside her partner Lilaps, the two venture into a mysterious dungeon in search of her 8 friends. The relationship between Yohane and her friends are primarily explored in other media, such as the anime, but we do get brief story scenes depicting their interactions as you run into them. It's worth noting that most of the scenes involve only one character interacting with Yohane at a time, possibly due to the game's non-linear structure. However, I do think it would have been nice if we saw more scenes with all the characters just talking and hanging out. What we have here is primarily intended for fans of the source material, which is excellent if you're a Yohane enthusiast. After a brief introduction to what this game actually is, you embark on an original adventure. However, the game lacks significant lasting appeal, as the primary driving force is the quest to save your friends. Interestingly, the developer uses each friend as a means of exploration and attack actions. The overall narrative is lighthearted and fun, with high-quality voice acting provided by the series cast, adding a nice touch to the scenes. However, I did notice that the HUD options during dialogue scenes were missing, such as autoplay and reread buttons. Additionally, if you press start, the scene skips without offering you a "do you wish to skip the scene" option. As a Metroidvania, Blaze in the Deep Blue offers a unique gameplay loop where friends possess abilities needed to access new areas. It follows a genre-standard formula of exploring maze-like maps across various themed levels. In addition, there are procedurally generated rooms scattered throughout the map, which change each time you enter and feature challenging encounters to overcome. The procedural nature of these rooms shouldn't be a significant concern, as there aren't too many of them, and they do contribute to the overall sense of exploration. The on-screen map helps identify rooms with treasure and the direction you should be headed in. Moreover, you can conveniently warp to a save point at any time from the start menu, which somewhat reduces the game's challenge since you can warp to refill your health whenever you want. However, we can dive into that later on. Other activities in dungeons involve battling enemies, collecting materials, and progressing through the story. Combat, on the other hand, has its ups and downs. While there are some promising ideas, they aren't fully explored. Yohane can craft items as she collects materials, and you'll be alerted to do this by an annoying exclamation mark on the top of the screen. These items are equipable and provide access to special weapons and defensive armor. However, after unlocking a decent accessory and an axe, I didn't have any other combinations of items that worked for me. This might be a common experience since the game isn't very challenging, and all craftable items are visible from the start, giving you a clear goal what to work towards. Nevertheless, there are items that offer buffs and reduce damage from elemental or debuff attacks. Consumable items can be purchased at Yohane's base, which presents a slight issue. You can easily stock up on healing items and overpower your way through any boss battle. The developers seem to rarely hold back during these encounters, and while the boss fights showcase some fun attack patterns, their impact on the story is minimal once defeated. Another issue is that the idle attack abilities are situational and mostly ineffective in actual enemy encounters. Once you encounter a girl, you can clear out their obstacles on the map and just switch back to Lilaps as he excels at attacking. There are no complex combos here. You're limited to about 2 consecutive attacks with Lilaps followed by using your equipped item, a brief pause, and then hopefully you can get in another attack. There's no dodge mechanic and you can't cancel out attack actions. Additionally, Yohane moves quite slowly, which can lead to her taking damage, although the healing items mitigate this issue as well. On a positive note, her movement speed does resemble the classic Mega Man games, where the blue bomber moved at full walking speed at all times. Other side missions involve searching for lost items, which you'll likely find by exploring every possible room. However, the map's layout can be quite confusing, lacking a cohesive structure. I often found myself wondering if I was in the right place or why so many areas seem to loop around in circles. Nevertheless, the dungeon themes were interesting and introduced new enemies, adding some variety to the gameplay. Yohane the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deepblue is a fairly standard Metroidvania experience on the surface. However, Inti Creates has gone the extra mile by incorporating procedurally generated areas, crafting mechanics, and expansive maps for exploration. Unfortunately, the combat is the weakest aspect of the game, and while there are challenging bosses and enemies, the abilities to spam healing items diminishes the sense of tension. If you're a Love Live fan, you'll likely enjoy what's here, but if you're unfamiliar with the franchise, there are other Metroidvanias worth exploring. Noisy Pixel is giving Yohane the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deepblue a 6.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.